And we are live on LinkedIn. Good night, folks.
Good night, LinkedIn, and good
How are
night,
you?
Instagram. We're on the gram.
So,
Hello,
folks,
Allison.
yes, Allison is always engaging, always being awesome, always putting content on
So
all
I was
around.
I was able to find a blue and yellow T-shirt.
What do you mean?
Yellow and blue for SAP.
Oh, I didn't even notice
That's
that.
what
Oh, crap. Hold on, a car
happened.
joined from here. No, folks, we live on LinkedIn. Tonight we're talking about value proposition and your ICP. For those of you who aren't sure, feel free to let us know. What is your ICP? If you know what that is, if you because a lot of people don't know what an ICP is, and a lot of people don't know what a value prop is. And tonight we're talking about it because we realize it's so critical, especially for persons in not just corporate. I realize corporate needs more help with it than an individual. What do you think, Lyndon?
Yes, corporate needs a lot of help with it because they don't teach it.
Yeah,
I
it's not
don't
really
even want to
taught.
say that they're unaware. They just don't teach it, and it's costing reps a lot as it relates to they're trying to sell to everybody, which is what we discovered yesterday with yeah, which is what we discovered yesterday.
Today. Okay, so let's before we get into that, Zoe.
LinkedIn Live with Lyndon and Sharon. Don't forget
Yes, don't forget you.
I didn't forget yellow Zoe. I have yellow on today.
All right. Alison said you're sounding slow. Not too sure how it's sounding across on LinkedIn, but you can message us in the comments and let us
Sounding very
know.
low here, Lyndon. All right, let me see if I can bring this a little
Imagine is
closer.
the volume. It's so weird.
It's all right.
The audio transition is always weird on these things. But for those of you who joining us, good night. Especially for those of you who in sales, those of you who have to share your products and services across and speak to people, I think you want to tune into this because we are talking about your value proposition and your ideal client profile, something that is so important with regards to sales when you're speaking to customers. And Lyndon, why did we bring this up as a topic? What has been happening in our world besides us actually now doing a training probably after the last 3-4 months? This is the
Yeah,
first time we meet up again for a training. We need to do this more
yeah.
often.
Yeah. What has been happening is that we are recognizing that a lot of folks are not selling either to the right people, and because of that, they're not experiencing the type of sales they're supposed to be experiencing, and they don't know why. You
Mm-hmm.
know, compounding to that as well, we recognize that they themselves are not very familiar with what an ideal customer profile is, and even though the whole ICP thing is kind of evolving as time goes on, just by not knowing it means that you're going to be pointing your efforts in the wrong direction, and then because of that, they can't do a proper value proposition pitch.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But let's explain to them though, what is a value proposition? I think that's the first thing.
I'm going to start with the VP with the value prop.
Yes, start with the value prop.
All right, so the value proposition is the end benefit, the end benefit of whatever your customer gets. Now, in many instances, we are when we're thinking about selling and we're thinking about making some sort of pitch to a customer, we make that pitch based upon who we are, how long we in business, we're the best things in sliced bread, this, that, and the third. And you say a whole lot of stuff about your services and your products and your features and your. I see Jamie's on here, so you might talk about things like you might talk
CNGs,
about features of the
we
car
helping
and
you
that kind
save
of stuff,
gas, helping you
right?
save gas with CNG vehicles.
But far too often we don't break down the value proposition. So a value proposition is really the end benefit of what that customer receives. And
Right?
that end benefit can be categorized in a number of ways. So Jared and I use a cool little way where we just try to make it easy for people to understand, where we break it down into productivity. So are you providing a service that allows a customer to be a lot more productive, right? Or is what you're selling allowing him or her to be a lot, or his organization to be a lot more productive? If you're in solution sales, if you're selling a car, so Jamie selling vehicles, I've seen a couple taxis on the road that are Hondas, right? So that's a productivity, that's a person is using as a productivity tool. On the other side too, we have profitability. So based upon what you are selling to the customer, are they now using that to become a lot more profitable? So while I might be using my car to do more work on the road, or let's say someone buys a truck and they want to do more work on the road and doing moving, that's productivity. They're offering a productive type service to a customer. They are
Correct.
also now making money from that. So that vehicle is bringing some sort of return back to them, right?
And we
So
already have a
what?
first candidate up, Celine Gosang is saying she doesn't know what her value proposition is. So Celine, you
Ah,
have to give us a
right.
description of what your business is so we can help you out.
Cool. Right. So
Nice.
we'll go through. So I'll go through the others also. The other one is along the lines of image. Right now, if someone does purchase a car or they are putting good work out there, let's say they purchase some sort of tech, and that tech is helping them produce good content and whatever it is, then their image improves, or they're being
Yep.
a lot more visible. The quality of everything else is improving a lot. And then from there, what is happening next is that people recognize them more, and they start to get what? They start to get business, right? And that's just from using a good quality piece of equipment to put yourself out there. Then the other one is along the lines of convenience. Is the product, service, or solution that you are giving to your customer, offering a service of convenience to them so that they can
Hmm.
offer a service of convenience to their customers because it's extendable. Whatever you are offering to your customers is also an extension to what they are offering to their customers. So it's not just me selling to Jared and that's it. No, Jared is taking my services because he has something to do. He has something to achieve. All right. And the last one is that overall experience. Like excuse me, how is that experience? How are we helping them provide a good experience to their customers? Or how am I providing a service for the customer to make it easy to do business with me so that they can eventually do whatever it is that they want to do in the long term, right? So productivity, profitability, image, convenience, and experience are the five value proposition categories everybody has. Don't care if you're weed whacking, if you're doing landscaping, you're
Yep.
cutting people grass,
Doesn't matter
you're washing
what
people
job you
car,
have.
all the way into solution sales, you're selling cars, you are offering any one of those five. You just need to understand what that is. And once you understand what that is, then you get the ability to say it differently in terms of your pitch. So let's hear Celine. Did Celine
Yeah.
say what she does?
Okay, so let's put a framework though, Lyndon. So like for example, um when we're doing the training today, what we kept mentioning some is a framework because you would have your general value proposition, but then you can niche it depending on the individual that you're speaking to, which I think is super key.
Right,
That's what a lot
right.
of
No,
persons don't realize. But let's
yeah,
talk
no.
about
When
the
you
error. Sorry.
No, sorry. But when you start talking about niching it, that's kind of where you're starting. You're also stepping into that ICP space because you're now starting to focus on a group or
Yeah.
groups that you wanna shift into. So
But that's why I pedal back to say let's understand the framework in terms of how we create it. But when I
mhm.
mean in terms of when you look at the ICP, like and let's talk about the errors some persons make. A lot of persons when they go into their value prop, it's all about them, and nothing about the outcomes.
Yeah,
Right? Air sense BTC, how are you going? And they miss out on that key opportunity. So the first thing to keep in mind is if your value prop only speaks about how good and how great your company is, that's not a value proposition.
that's not a value proposition.
That's not
If
a
your
value.
value if
Mhm.
your value proposition speaks about mission and vision, that's not a value proposition.
Exactly. It's not.
That's your aspirations. That's what you would want to do. But
Correct.
it's not those things.
Right?
So if I were to ask you, because I know we did it today, JB, how would you craft, let's say, your value proposition? How would you craft that for yourself?
For me, I craft my value prop as again, you talk about the outcomes, but then I lead back in terms of who is the outcomes being created for.
For
So that's
right.
how I look at it. So you have to ask yourself that. Think about it this way. To start understanding your value prop, look at the last customer you sold to and understand what was that outcome you created for them.
Mhm.
And I know Celine is in the graphic space in terms of design and logo. So if you're Celine,
Ooh,
if you listen, I'm gonna shoot in the dark and
that's
say,
excellent. Yeah.
um, what you do is help individuals and small businesses find clarity through brand development and graphic design so that they don't have to do the hard work themselves in terms of creating those images for their customers,
Yeah.
right? And I just looking at how the customer feels in the end result. Lyndon, you were helping me. You were just adding a couple of things on for me when I spoke about it on LinkedIn. So like
Yeah.
when I look at who I serve on LinkedIn, like this is honestly it. I help women who are in mid-level to C-level positions, not only just have an optimized profile on the platform, but utilize the platform to achieve their objectives, which could be a career change or finding more opportunities to speak and be recognized as a thought leader.
Yep. And that is a value proposition.
So,
Succinct,
yeah,
very specific.
correct.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna seal
So
up my boy. Just on, I'm gonna pause because I wanted to seal up my boy Kevin. He's some
right.
SVG. What's that? Champion agent of the award for the third quarter for SGV
Oh,
again
that's
for third
beautiful.
quarter in a row. Yeah?
That's excellent.
And I'm glad the first set. Kevin, just remember what your tagline is. He has an amazing tagline, and I hope you register that website because I'm with you on that.
Yes.
I hope you register it. That was key. But yes, go ahead, Lyndon.
Yeah, so I was just going to take a stab at Celine, right? So, Celine, if you're in the space of graphic, and so what we were saying before, it doesn't matter what industry that you're in, you have value that you add to customers. It's just how you want to go about communicating it, right? So, if you are in the space of graphic design, then you are helping a customer bring their image out there, whether it's from a logo, whether it's from branding, whether it's from typography, if it's for a particular marketing campaign, you're helping bring a particular idea, an image about the brand, helping that come forward. So that is a value proposition number one. The goal behind the customer wanting to do that, and more than likely, is because they want to boost sales. So they want to show up, but they also want to get that to come back to you in some sort of to them in some sort of way, because they want to get more business, whether it's more requests for quotations, or in general, just more overall return on investment in terms of business. Now, that there, you may not have control in terms of the end result of them getting the business, but by them just by just helping them show up on the respective platforms, or whatever, so let's say standard media websites that they want to show up on, that is going to now put them forward, and of course increase their return in some sort of way, let's say by lead gen, and they will have to do their conversions after. So a graphic artist can help, or person in graphic designs can actually help in terms of revenue, but they really start by adding that value to the customer's image first. Then begins to boost their productivity because of more requests, and that converts in itself all the way down into profitability, which is more revenue.
No, I lost the IG connection because I think somebody was trying to call me. Thank you, whoever that is.
Oh, what do you want
Because
me
it
to
didn't
do on
connect
this side?
back yet, even though on Wi-Fi. I don't
No.
understand what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
My gosh. But anyway, yeah. So let me ask this question, because a lot of people might have this understanding. Is my value proposition an elevator pitch?
To an extent, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. To an
That's what I
extent,
wanted to
yes.
clarify.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because how I want you all to think of this, folks, is that if somebody approaches you and they ask, what do you do? I wanted to think of it like an elevator pitch. So, like, if I think of a framework, because I want to give people a framework to leave with tonight, London,
Mhm.
is something simple as persons come to me, like in Celine's case, persons come to me when they just started their business and they need clarity with regards to branding and their logo,
Mhm.
like something along those lines. I know I probably need to add something. No, small businesses and individuals who have just started their business come to me to create their branding and have clarity, to create their logo and to have clarity with regards to their branding.
Yeah.
I have
And
no
or
idea what's going on that time.
we could all
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, what you could do, you could end it and we can just start over again, because I'm sure people would have
Yeah.
left, right? So in Celine's case, we could also say we have small businesses or startups bring their brand to market, right, to attract the right type of customers and to grow their revenue. Because again, that's also what you're doing. You're helping people bring their brand to market and show up, in the respective
Correct.
spaces. So again, there are many different ways, and we're just kind of shooting it as we have it here in our heads. But really and truly, when you're looking at your value proposition, is what that end benefit is, right? Or we could also say, we help our customers in the space of automotive or FM. Is it FMCG, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we could say like we help our customers in the industry of FMCG bring their promotional ideas to market so that they can attract and educate their existing and potential customers and grow their revenue at scale. Again, you have many different ways that you can go about saying that, because again, the role of a graphic artist isn't to just sell; it's just to really help that customer bring their idea, rep, pull that idea out of their head and now
Yep.
illustrate it in the best possible way.
Correct. So I like that. And then so like to me, I always look at the framework of once if you want to create your value proposition, again, folks, we reiterating it. Just ask yourself, who do I serve? What is the outcome do I create for the persons when I deliver my products and service? And if
Yeah.
you have that understanding, it's how you're able to communicate that now effectively in the shortest form. Because today we saw a lot of people kind of overcomplicate it. Oasis Fitness, good night. So we just want to make sure people kind of get clear, because we realize a lot of persons miss that point, and then it kind of really impacts them in terms of what they explain to customer. Because we realize plenty were kind of making it out about explanation when it shouldn't have been. It should really be straight and to the point, so they could understand if they qualify to be helped by you, or if it is that it just gives them clarity in terms of what you do.
Yes, that's very correct.
Nice.
Yeah. So
The other
let's
one
talk.
now.
All right, I was now
Yes.
going to say the same thing. So what we need to talk about now is who we're selling to, because today Jaron and I were talking to a group, or was it yesterday? But it could have been either on both days actually, and we were asking, are your services for everyone? And a couple of them said yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, now
boy.
everybody who want to buy from me, I sell it to them.
Boy.
Everybody who want to buy from me, I'm selling to them. And that
Mistake.
is not correct. But Jared, you want to tell them, you want to let them know as to why?
Let me tell you all, actually, and I think I gave the best explanation of what it is today, right? So let's put it this way. And I'll say this a million different ways, right? You're not doubles, you're not ice cream, you're not for everyone. The
Mm,
thing about having an ICP, it allows you to be focused in terms of who you sell to. And you
right.
want to have that because number one, having an ideal client profile shortens your sales cycle because you're spending more time with the right persons who are more inclined to buying from you,
You.
first and foremost. That's like if you selling pork, but you open up in the most Muslim condensed community ever. You ain't gonna sell nothing, brother.
Right.
Nothing ain't gonna sell. You're wrong types of customers. Let's
Hmm.
give you another example, right? Having an ICP is something like, and I know we have a couple of people watching from away, but a lot of people understand this. There was guys who walk around with duffel bags in the neighborhoods. You see, just be pulling products out of their bag to sell it to you. That's when they do
Yes.
have an ICP. Just pulling whatever randomness you're finding in your bag. Whereas at the gas stations now, you have these guys who sell anything to clean the headlights on their car. Do you notice that they don't go to people with brand new cars or to people who have clean headlights? Why is that? Because you're not the ideal client. The ideal client is people who have dirty headlights.
Yep.
You need to be the dirty headlights in your business and find only those types of people. And I'll
And
give this last example because there's something I feel passionate about. When I was in Samsung, I used to tell people this all the time. I would only spend time, especially when they have a launch, and actually even a launch. Anytime I was in any of these stores, it might sound bad. I only spend time with people who are going to buy.
mm,
So I qualified you quickly. And if you weren't buying, I just may give you something key that they should know about the phones. And I moved on to the next customer because that is key, especially if the store is crowded.
right.
Because I am trying to get the people who want to buy in front of me so I could close the sale. I don't want to spend time with somebody who's telling me, nah, just browsing, I'm looking for something for my birthday. When is your birthday? Next year, June. No problem, man. I'm going to tell you some key about this phone. I tell you the key feature, then I move on to
And I
somebody
go
else.
on.
I want
Yeah.
somebody who needs to
Yeah.
buy a phone today.
Yeah. Because maybe you have to register sales, right? You got to register sales for the month.
You have a
Yeah.
business to run.
And that's interesting too, because that's something that I would say I didn't do a good job of, especially in my younger years in sales,
Yep.
because I was so intrigued in terms of just talking to everybody about the car. I would just talk to them about the car, right? And I will go on and on. And when you ask them as to what, no, I was just looking around. They just saw the car while it was passing. they make a double back and they came. I didn't qualify them to
I don't
find
do
out
that
if they
anymore.
had any interest in looking at what you're doing now. So if
I don't
someone
do
is
that
coming,
anymore.
so if it is that we're looking at the ICP, what you said something that was important there, which was qualifying them, right? What is one of the
Yes.
first questions you would normally ask them as it relates to qualifications?
Oh, that is a tough one, as weird as that sounds, because it so varies based on your product.
Hmm.
So let's go with time, as in
Right,
how soon do you want to get this done?
right,
I think that should be a qualifier,
yeah,
because of course time is a key factor, right? The other thing I would ask them is, why do you want to get this?
right.
Right? So
I
it's
might normally
time, and then they
start off
want to
with the
ask
why.
why, because they
Yeah,
want to understand the purpose. Because somebody may, like, let's put it this way, in terms of the dirty headlights, some people might want to buy your product but want to use it on their windshield. It's not for windshield, it's for the headlight.
yeah.
So for me, the time and the purpose of what they want my product and service for, in terms of the outcome that they want, is very important to understand if that's an ideal client for me.
So I have a series of questions that starts with why, what, how, where, when, right?
Right?
And that's all part of your qualification, right? So one of the first questions I normally might ask is like, so why are you interested in X? So why is he looking at the phone? The other one I might ask is, so what is it that you're using now? And so based upon what the person would have said, I will answer, so how does he actually go about using it? Like, what are some of the things that you actually do with the phone and stuff like that?
Yep.
And coming out of that, then I get an appreciation as to what this customer is trying to achieve. Talking to a group this morning, and their stuff is a little bit different in financial services, but I was just encouraging them to ask the customer, um, so where is it that you're actually coming from, or do you have insurance from a different provider? Why are you asking? Why are you shopping around? Like what is it that's bringing you across to us in terms of looking for another quotation? Do you
Right.
have insurance with another vehicle or with another provider? Yes. What is it that you're looking for? So gauging that helps you get a better appreciation as to your customer. What is it that they're looking for? And then you get to maybe qualify that person as a good fit for you in terms of your ideal customer. So by just
Very true.
breaking down your questions in terms of why, what, where, how, you get to really dig into to your ICP and understand if this person, from a qualification standpoint, is best suited for you.
I love it. We can end the show based on that alone, because like
Yeah.
that's it there. So actually, no, let me give this important tip. If you're trying to understand who your ideal client is, look at your past customers. Even if you're new to a company, look at the past customers. Even if the company is brand new and you have no customers, look at who your competitors are serving
Hmm.
and see
Yep.
the characteristics. Like, there are lots of easy ways, and the only reason why we're saying this is simply because you don't want to spend time with people who are never going to buy, or who timeline of buying doesn't work well with regards to your targets.
Yeah. Can I give an example on the existing
Of course.
customers? So a few years ago, while looking at it, we were mandated to find new business, and I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything else to do. I couldn't think of another fresh idea to go out there and do some go-to-market strategies. And while just sitting down with the team, we were just talking, and one person spoke about a law firm. And then while we were doing that, I can't remember if it was myself or Sean or the rest of them, but we decided to say, wait a minute, how many law firms do we have in our portfolio? And what is it that they have been purchasing from us? Right? And we realized that they were purchasing mid-level black and white devices because they don't really need color, right? And they also have a demand that they have specific features and necessities in terms of how they want to distribute, how they have to do 2 and 3 copies of a legal document when going to court. The other thing is that once we identify that, okay, we do have a product to service to legal entities, we then took a look to see what are the types of legal entities we've sold to. And by doing that, we recognized that we had 7 legal entities. We had like we had Polini and Blau, we had Fistone, and we had some mid-sized ones. So we also got to understand the big guys what they purchased and the medium-sized guys what they were purchasing. You know what we really recognized with that too? When we said, you know what, we could actually go after more law firms, we got to realize that we were somewhere under 5% of that market.
Whoa.
Meaning we had only 7 in our portfolio, and there were 300 or 400 and odd registered or listed attorneys and chambers and all these little different things in Trinidad and Tobago. So we were really, really below, even though
Yeah,
we
boy.
felt good that we had the nice names. And that just gave us a concentrated focus as to who to go after.
Look, look, Jamie saying, I know Jamie's saying it for joke. I don't know if it's fun for people.
Everybody with a driver's
permit.
permit.
And you know, that's interesting for the automobile industry because I think I gave you the example of where I was talking to an automobile company and Jamie, no lie, that was their response. They said anybody who have money. And then I was like, that's not an ICP because cars are so affordable in Trinidad now. Anybody could afford a car. So therefore, if anybody could afford it, it's an easy commodity. You have to compete on a different level. You have to understand a buying need for a car. Like in
When we
Jamie's case,
were,
of course, with the CNGs, people who want to reduce their gas bill, that could be an ideal client. So people have a direct interest in reducing their gas bill, or people who want a motor vehicle but don't want to incur high expenses and high maintenance.
yeah, just from my experience coming out of that industry, I've always recognized that the cars really do have a profile. They have an appeal, they have an attraction to a certain group, a
Yep.
certain gender, a certain profession. And the more that we start paying attention to those things, you get to recognize, excuse me, you get to recognize that when you are speaking or advertising your vehicles, you can start naming those names. Like I knew that there were certain vehicles that I was selling back in the days, only traveling officers was coming for them. So we started to focus and target traveling officers because, excuse me, it gave good mileage, it was durable and stuff like that. And then they used to get back, they would get back certain things in terms of their gas bill and stuff like that, but they liked the car. It kind of fit their status because a car is something that it also has a status or emotional component to it in terms
That's
of the
right.
look and feel. So it's emotional and logical in terms of its purchase thing with the customer, but it does have a profile. When we were selling the Clio used to go up against the Suzuki Swift, right? Those vehicles had profiles, and we mostly found that young women, right? Some of them maybe with one child or with no kids, or they were just going to universities. They will come and they will purchase, and we actually started to develop a secondhand pool of Clios for that group of people. So again, every vehicle, every product or service has a profile. We just have to take our time and understand what that profile is.
Yep. And by doing that, ooh, there's someone nose itching. It saves us a ton of time in terms of our efforts. And this is why I keep telling persons, like you need to understand who is best suited to buy from you. And if you haven't done that activity as yet, I highly recommend you spend. It won't take you more than an hour to do if you have the right information.
Yeah.
It honestly doesn't. But it goes a long way. And Linda, like even just today, there's somebody who approached me for a while ago for services, and like I laughed because I was like, yeah, you're not my ideal client, but like, and I still had a discovery call. 'Cause I just wanted to make sure I was right,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
and it was right. The person
Yeah, it was right. Yeah.
did not fit the criteria of the people that I work with.
Hmm.
And as I said during the conversation, it just made me fully aware. And then I was like, right, at least I know I have my ICP correct.
Yeah.
And again,
And
the other decision factor was, so it was two things. One, it was gender, it was a
hmm
guy, and then two,
right.
it was time. The
Right.
woman that reach out to me for their services make the decision after the discovery
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it. They
I, I've,
make
I've,
make the
I,
decision.
I found for me, women are better customers. I work most of my customers come from the companies or even the individuals that I work with, and I know that we were having this conversation.
Yep.
Mid-level professionals or senior professionals, in particular corporate industries, and they seem a lot more serious. Men, I don't know what's going on with you. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't know what's going on with you.
And hold on. So can we put that as an ICP? You have to
Yes.
look at personality as well, and that could go for individuals and the organizations.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and it might even go so far as you don't work in family-based companies, or you don't work with some people who might not be coachable. Because to me, if you're not coachable, I'm not doing any kind of work with you, not even a
Mm,
LinkedIn profile,
yeah.
because I need to coach you on what your LinkedIn profile has to be. So if you don't have that, it makes a huge impact. And then once you understand what these characteristics and traits are, folks, you have to structure the question in your discovery stage.
Hmm.
Or even before that, things that you can just see and identify so that it's either a checkbox or it's an X to say that's great, that's not great. I can't work with an individual like that.
Not like that. Yeah.
Oh,
And
hold
you,
on. Somebody's asking, Oasis Fitness is asking, can you list out the 5 components of VP
of
again?
the
And
VP.
I'll write it in the chat here.
All right. So the
I'll
five
put out
components.
productivity.
Yeah. The five components are productivity. The other one is profitability. The third one is image. The fourth one is experience. No, convenience. And the fifth one is experience. That's the fifth one. There's something I was going to say, and I kind of lost. I lost
Hey,
the
Derek, good
the
night.
point there. But at the end of the day, guys. Oh, my point was going to be this, right? Even from a qualification or disqualification standpoint, if customers don't fit certain things in your checklist, you would know that you don't need to. The customer isn't ready to do business with you. I always use the example of me reaching out to Michael Zaprinsky, and he had something that I needed to fill out. He asked me a series of questions, and he didn't work with me. I wanted to know if we could have worked together because that's one person I was really interested in digging him a pockets to work with.
Yep.
But I didn't fit his profile as it relates to my business wasn't at a stage that he was ready to start working with me with. And I know some of you would say, "What? Why would you do that? No, you should work with all the customers." No,
No,
no.
no,
You know what the man give me? The
no.
man give me a real nice email and a PDF. And he said, "Listen, when you get to this stage, follow these steps. When you get to this stage, let's have a follow-up conversation." And I love him for that because I think that was open and it kind of let me know, wait, okay, so I have some work to do to get to that point. So who do I
Exactly.
need to work with to get to that point? And he doesn't have to work with me. He doesn't have to use up his valuable
Time,
billable
because this time is
time.
money.
Exactly. And this is
And the thing
I
is,
want you all to
this works.
understand this in
This works on
sales.
the
Yeah.
Samsung end as well. This works on the Samsung end because, like, if I realize the person wasn't ready to buy, I would tell you 2 key things on the phone, and I'll make sure you're aware of the price.
Yeah.
And then I move on. I give them a valuable exit experience. You don't just shun them. I know we
Yep.
kind of saying it in a rush manner right now, but we don't send them on the way. We make sure we add the value. But you have to understand that you have to spend the time with the ones who make sense. There's a LinkedIn trainer. I can't remember her surname. Her first name is Deborah. I can't remember Deborah's last name. She changed the bio since. I think I told you when she first added me to her profile, I was impressed by her bio. Because her
Hmm.
bio literally said, if your business is not a 6-figure revenue business, it makes no sense contacting me.
Yep. And
It's
that's
not
not
a good thing.
snobbish, guys.
That's
I know.
not snobbish.
Yeah. Sometimes we look at that and say, look at them. No, that's not snobbish. You are indicating who you are best suited to work with at this time. And you know what's interesting? I want to
Mm-hmm.
maybe say this even for the insurance folks, right? Because when you start off with insurance, you might be shooting for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. But then after a while, as you begin to get a rhythm, you got to realize that you are closing a specific type of customer, a specific group of customers. Customers who are at a particular stage, they may be a little bit more mature, and you build a rhythm. As a matter of fact, your referrals will eventually come from people within that particular profile. And after a while, you don't deal with those other folks anymore. Those are things that I experienced while doing copiers. We
Javon
got
is
we
like that as well
Yeah,
for
we got we got
insurance.
we got to realize that, wait a minute, we don't need to be selling those smaller copiers because there's more volume, is less profit, is more work. But we figured out that, wait a minute, we do really well with these groups or these industries, and from models starting off here and up. That's where, as a team, we recognize that we sell really good on. So we just started to really dig down into that. And our business grew, and we had people that would come to ask us certain things about copiers, sometimes not even our brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they just wanted to know something about the copier. So
Actually,
again,
I'm gonna send this
expands.
to Javon. I think one of Javon's value props should be persons who want to buy insurance but don't want to meet the insurance agent until it's time to sign.
Yeah,
I think I had a message him was because I think it will have rare people who be like, wait, I don't have to talk to you
yeah,
directly. All right. Hey
yeah.
Rishika, good night.
But
Like
let us,
honestly, I think that's a brilliant thing to do,
yeah,
boy.
let us know in the chat, guys. Let us know if what we're seeing here makes sense. Because
Yes,
again,
please.
we are taught. I mean, listen, no disrespect to managers, but managers, you all need a lesson in value propositions as well too, because you all don't know it. At least I haven't come across a manager who knows it.
Yeah, they
Um,
don't.
and if you start helping your team fine tune how they sell, who they sell to, when should they look at selling to them, you will start seeing your team doing better quality business at first, even though the
Yep.
sales might seem slower. But then when they get that rhythm in terms of the type of customers that best suits them, you get to realize that that quality is coming at a faster frequency. But if we're
And they
just
do
hustling
better
out there
sales,
and
better everything.
yeah, the first person that show up in front of you, we cannot be selling like that. And you see, JB, this goes back to where now. This is where organizations, for those of us who work within a corporate entity, this is where putting together the right sales structure for everybody is important. If there's no
Yes.
sales culture, then that means that this person is going to sell this way, that person is going to sell that way, this person is going to sell that way. And everybody going to be helter skelter. You're going to get mixed and varied results. It's not going to work for you.
Plain talk. And I realize, and here's the thing, right? I realize that ICP, here's one thing that's going to be hard for you to form an ICP. Because a lot of people I realize it's two things. One, they don't like telling people no,
Mm,
which forces them to work with people who will never buy from them and they feel frustrated. That's how you feel frustrated in your business. You know, when
yeah,
people say you find your feeling sales and you're chasing people down, that's because it's not your right customer,
yeah,
first and foremost. Right?
yeah,
The other thing that you need to study now, which is something that you don't look at, Linda mentioned it at the start. One of the most important things in developing your ICP is you need to have the confidence to ask somebody, why do you want my service? And a lot of people are scared. They get excited. They replace that with excitement, saying, yes, somebody wants my service, instead of asking, why do you want my service? And if you
yes.
understand those two key things, if you're comfortable telling people nope and
Hmm.
why, you're gonna be a lot better in sales.
And if you
A
can point
lot
them in the
better.
right direction, because remember, JB, I think that's where we really live in. We live in the word of being an advisor. A lot of you all
Yep.
have these advisor names in your title, But when it's time to really advise, you're not advising. You just you just call it vomiting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
vomit.
you're just vomiting.
Vomit.
So,
Vomit,
and that,
vomit,
that
vomit.
happens often a lot. Krista Privat on LinkedIn is saying, just going to read this out here. She is
I'll
saying,
bring this up here.
yeah, managers must live the value proposition. They show staff what it means and encourage them to live the values. Yeah, every day,
And by
all
the way,
day.
Krista was on with us last week Wednesday. You could go back in my feed and check the live. Absolutely brilliant. Drop some serious bombs and nuggets if you really want to
Yeah.
get some value in terms of that human performance indicators, right? HPI.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
I got it right, Krista.
she does people, process, and technology. So yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
PPT. Yeah.
PPT. So
You
it
know.
is, and so we just here to mention this because we were doing training today and we realized that some of the reasons why these sales reps are struggling and this impacted their prospecting because I showed you the survey. It's simply
Hmm.
because they don't know who they're supposed to be selling to.
Yeah.
Like when I'm on LinkedIn and I'm doing my prospecting, I even when I find somebody who matches the criteria, there's still one or two things I could go through and tell that they don't need help on. And then I might still do a discovery call.
Hmm.
But like they're clear indicators, like you're supposed to be able to reach a point where you can recognize your customer and be like, nope, or be like, yes, let me start a conversation just to
Yeah.
qualify you.
Yeah.
You're not
And
supposed to be selling to everybody, folks. You're not
uh,
supposed to be.
and if you all don't believe us, just go and ask. I don't want to say that don't believe us, but if you have your hesitation or your doubts, go and ask any top performing rep.
Yep.
There's a top performing rep in a furniture company that I know very well. She don't waste time with a certain kind of client. She does not waste time. She knows exactly who she's going after, and
Yep.
she focuses on that. And you know what? The woman damn successful. Yeah.
Let's put it this way. I always use this as an example. And this goes back into the entire thing from the brand to the individual. Mercedes Benz does not sell to Toyota Corolla customers because they understand their value proposition. They
Yep.
have a certain value and a certain, they deal with people of a certain budget, which means that the reps who work for them, they understand what their ideal client profile is. And they ask you questions to qualify the individual.
Yes.
So from a company perspective, the value proposition is there so that, as Lyndon said, the culture of the organization understands it, that we don't chase people who trying to buy a Toyota Corolla. No offense to Toyota Corolla, it's a beautiful car, but we selling Benz.
Yeah, but the clientele
The,
is different. Yeah.
the clientele is different,
The clientele is different. Yeah.
right? And because of that, and I understand who my ideal client profile is, like I wouldn't talk to somebody who now start off their first job and they're
Yeah.
working in a government entry level. They're not going to
But
qualify.
but bro, hold up.
Yeah.
Let me just add as to why this is so important and how serious you could be when it comes to this, right? You could pull your value, your ideal customer profile. Let's go to Jamie. Let's go back to the automotive industry, right?
Yeah.
To buy a car, you must most likely, if you're going to purchase a vehicle and you're going to be buying it on installments, that installment you must have a particular DSR or a particular salary range.
Yep.
Who has that salary range? So you can now take that salary range and say, okay, who are the people, what industries or what professions has this salary range? And then you could start looking for those people. And that's the kind of work you're supposed to be doing in your industry. Again, so even the vehicles that you want to get or that you want to sell, it has a specific criteria
Yep.
because the customers must have a budget, they must have a salary, and there's supposed to be some room within their salary. Anything else outside of, you know who does that very well? Candace
From
from
Candace.
Massey.
Yeah.
Very, very well.
Like
She had.
you know what
I don't want to
saw?
give out her secrets.
No, but she does the same thing you mentioned before. You won't give out the secrets.
She qualifies
But
hardcore.
you cannot reach out to her
Yeah.
directly
No.
or to the team and everything she works with. Because remember, all the massive team
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
their the insurance people, etc., and the loan people
Yeah.
without filling out the form. You
The
have
form.
to fill out the form. You
And
have to
on the
qualify.
form, that form carries certain qualification criteria. So imagine a sales rep is putting in her form give me this, give me that, give me that, give me that. And then she has her own process that's really, really working for her. And
Yep.
she's knocking it out of the park. And Candice
And then here's the
knows
thing: if you're
what she's
offended by
selling.
somebody who has a form for you to fill out to be qualified for their service, guess what? You're not their ideal
You know the
client.
customer.
That's a
Yeah.
simple qualifier as well. Simple, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry to give you that bad news, but we just want to stress on it tonight because, like, I think part of the success we've always had is that you understand who you're selling to. You find the patterns in terms of the people. You find once you understand that you have a success rate and you work well with a customer and it's a fast closing rate that appeals to how your business structure is and your business process, then you need to find more of them and you need to stop working with the ones who aren't, or at
Mhm.
least improve your processes so you can.
Yeah.
Like in the training today, I was giving everybody an example. When I was working Digicel, this was in particularly 2010 to 2011. This is when the competition between B Mobile and Digicel was stiff in government, and I was growing government by 28% a month, only because I understood a segment in government and state enterprises where B Mobile was not serving,
Mm.
and the government was okay with giving us that business, and that gave us a foot in the door to get additional services.
Additional services, yes.
So once I found that, and I'll give you the specific example, right? In state enterprises like TNT, they give the staff a stipend. They give you $100 a month for your phone bill.
Hmm.
Because I said like daily paid workers, etc., how it's broken down, right? So when I found that out, I said, and I realized the size of the market, right, Lyndon? I said,
Yes.
if I create $100 plan, is that valuable for you? The guy said, yes. And he's one in charge of, because each Chentech has a station. He's in charge of the station for the East, etc. I was like,
Right.
cool. I came back 2 days later and because with a plan created for them, right? He signed on the spot.
Hmm.
You know what's my follow-up question? And I remember the guy's name to today. I was like, hey, Varma, How many other stations you have again? They said 9. Let me
Right.
introduce you to all 9. I did nothing else that month,
Else.
I
Right.
didn't sell 10. Listen, if you didn't fit that criteria, I don't have the time to sell you. I don't. You are not my dirty headlight. I have to bypass. I have other people I need to help. And I literally just knocking it out the park. It was seamless. It was just, and the thing is, because I understood who the ideal client was. Listen, Lyndon, the value prop was sweet. The value prop was, hey, when I talked to the guy, hey, Lyndon, I was just talking to Vamaratan and we created $100 plan that actually solved X and Y problem for them. Is this
Mm.
something you want to get done for your team? Yeah, man, come in.
Yep.
Sign papers.
Look, I can't read it properly,
Oasis.
but on Instagram,
She's saying
yes.
budgets aside, shouldn't some work be done to convince or capture persons who may not be your ideal client?
To capture them. No, no,
Mm,
she has a point, and I'll tell you why I will tell you yes. But
that is
to
nurturing.
you have to capture them right. So that's nurturing, because what can happen there is that even if they are not ready to purchase, or they just wouldn't purchase, because there are some people who have relationships with you but they're not going to purchase. They can now point a potential lead in your direction. They
Yeah.
may not, they wouldn't call you to tell you that, but what they will do is they will say, hey, check out Jared, check out Oasis, check out Lyndon, that type of stuff. So, excuse me. So, at the end of the day, folks, you really have to focus on what the customer's situation is and then build on that. And as I like how Oasis said it, budget aside, because a lot of the times we only talk about price, 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 price. No,
And they
it's
use
needs,
Bant.
needs.
Bant is a
Yeah,
popular sales thing, which they
yeah.
shouldn't use Bant because
Needs.
we
Just
spoke
start with
about it
needs,
in the
needs,
training.
needs.
And for everybody listening, we talking about value prop and ideal client profile. But here's an example. Only people in Trinidad will understand what I'm talking about here. Because I mentioned it in the group today. Even though people have a problem, it doesn't mean that they want it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't make them your ideal client, which is why budget is not an issue.
It's nice, yeah,
It
yeah.
is never an issue. People will find the money when they need to do something if you present it in the right way. Oasis does fitness. If somebody doesn't have the money and they want to lose the weight, they would figure out a way. They might take a loan from the credit union and pay for Oasis for the year because
And you
they
know what's
committed to the program.
And here's the interesting thing with that, right? So Oasis in the space of fitness means that somebody has to, let's say somebody's on a weight management program for whatever reason. By them losing that weight, a number of things happen with them, right? They begin to feel good about themselves. They start looking good. People start appreciate. Not so like people didn't appreciate them from before, but people start expressing that. So the immediate value proposition there that comes along with that is image. Then because of the fact that they may have lost the weight, they're a lot more agile. They could do more. They kind of up and down the place. We don't know if that ties into their productivity and their profitability as well. But that image, sometimes what I've found is that image alone helps boost confidence, especially from a weight management standpoint. So by you planting that seed and helping the customer drop down in terms of size, and I just staying specific to weight management, you tend to find that the customer's confidence grows. They start showing up a little bit differently, and you never know, because that can open opportunities up for them. And it all started off with them coming to your organization and you helping them feel better about themselves by losing weight. That is how you take a solid look at what your value proposition is.
So can we put that as a side thing content wise though? It means that Oasis and for everybody else who's listening, if you know you have customers who take a while to buy, as in before they're on board with you because they it's time, content can actually speed that up. But content in essence of that future state of what they're trying to achieve,
Mm-hmm,
of what they
mm-hmm,
want to
mm-hmm.
achieve. And that can be just you putting out simple messages, simple bits of information out there. So think
Yep.
about it that way. But yeah, I love it. And by the way, last thing too, which is important, you always need to keep revising your value prop and your ideal client profile, especially if you're bringing on new products, new services. You need to understand who is it for. If there are major changes in the market with regards to what you do, that could change your value prop. Because, for example, if there are government legislation introduced with regards to cars, that might affect your value prop and
Yeah.
your ideal client profile. So anytime there are changes, always make sure and look at it. Always make sure and revisit it. Hey, Avalon, good night. So yes. But let us know if you have any questions as we wrap up. You know? because I enjoyed the chat tonight. I think it was great training that team today. It was great doing training again with you this week. I'll
Yeah, it
miss it
was
when it
nice.
ends tomorrow because now I have to go back doing all the talking.
Right. Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. And we do a good job in terms of sharing the space.
You didn't
You
realize I
know.
was today. I was just like, mute. I was on mute. I was like, I'm not talking. No, not talking. This is so good. But yeah, but folks, as we said, for those who joining and rotating, we want to mention to you all that you have to understand who your ideal client profile is in today's market because you want to save time in terms of who you sell to. You don't want to waste time with the persons who are not going to buy because you want people to buy from you now or within what is your acceptable sales process timeline, right?
Mhm.
The other thing to know is that you need to understand your value proposition because by understanding the value proposition, it allows you to qualify those persons for your ideal client profile. So you can literally tell somebody immediately off the bat, this is how I help individuals. Hey Shaquille, good night. Shaquille's in our training today. That name sounds familiar.
Uh,
Shaquille. Yeah.
yeah, this might be. Yeah, this is Shaquille. I would like to
Is
assume
that
this is the only
Shaquille?
Shaquille I'm familiar with right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's him. Let me see. It is him.
All
If it's
right.
another
So good.
Shaquille, I'll be in shock. It is him. Good
Yeah.
night,
So good
Shaquille.
night.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Good night, Shaquille. Yeah.
but understanding that specifically, like it is a powerful combination for you to know to save time in your sales process and it will actually help you increase your sales, not just in how fast you close customers, but in the value of the customers as well, in terms of the average transaction value.
Yep.
All right.
I don't have anything else to say. I think we just said a lot.
That's right, folks. My throat hurting me. I'm gonna, yeah, so I'm going to take a sleep now or read my book before I sleep. All right,
Yeah.
folks. But it's been fun. I think we may do 8 o'clock as well next week.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night, brother.
So
Yeah.
we could keep it consistent for you all. I think 8 o'clock more people jump on and we want to give that value. But check back my profile. You would see the the post there in the live. So you can check it out if you're now joining and you missed. We talk about your value proposition. We talk about how to structure it. And we also spoke about the ideal client profile. Oh, look, Shaquille saying he actually had a client today and pitched her the products and services I offer for business. However, she was with another provider. And
Mm.
she actually passed her on to other clients. Nice. You see?
Yep. Relationship building.
Facts. That's just the impact we have with people, folks. We just want to make everybody sell better. Because when they sell better, they make more money. Good night, folks.
All right, folks. Have a great night. Take care.